Child, let me tell y'all, I was not ready. This mid-season finale, I was not ready. Let's talk. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is Ambition Season 1, Episode 11. And the name of this episode is "A Change Is Gonna Come," and this is the mid-season finale. Yo, I was so not ready for this shit. Like, it really blew my mind how they ended this, because they mentioned in the commercials that somebody was gonna die, but the person and how it went down blew me the hell away. And I can't wait to talk about this. But before I get started, let me send a personal shout out to Will Packer, Jamie Giddens, the cast and crew of this show. I am so looking forward to Ambitions coming back. This has become one of my favorite shows to review because the twists and the turns and the secrets and the treachery is out of this world. I mean, this show literally gives the haves and the have-nots dynasty and all of them a run for their money, because they are not playing with this show at all. So let me begin. The episode opens up. Evan, Stephanie, and Carly are at the breakfast table. Stephanie gets a text from Damien saying that the mission's accomplished. Amara and Titus have broken up and that he's staying at the Duckworth Hotel. So we already know that succubus heifer Stephanie is going to find a way to finally get what she's been dying for since her and Titus reunited. And while also what's going on at this breakfast table is, Evan tells Carly about this guy Kenny Leon. He has this theater exchange program in London, and he pretty much says that, maybe this is something you might want to get into. And she's like, oh yes, absolutely. And then you got Stephanie chiming in like, oh yes, honey, you should be very grateful that you have family that will do anything for you. And I'm looking like, Stephanie, why you always try to come for this child? It's like she be doing the most with her daughter, and I see why her daughter can't stand her. She does too damn much. But Evan said, oh no, he actually saw her production, when she was in For Color Girls, and he was enthusiastic that he mentioned her to me. So she's pretty much gotten noticed on her own as an actress. And of course, there's still that tension between them, because Stephanie wants Carly to be a lawyer, and she doesn't support Carly's ambitions, even though she says, I support your goals, honey. That's really not the case. And I'm like, stop lying, bitch. You don't support the fact that she wants to be an actress, and it seems that the only true support and true backing that she's really getting as far as her career endeavors is from her father. So all this is going on. The tension is still thick between Stephanie and Carly, and then just out of nowhere, Steven shows up. Now, granted, we have not seen Steven for a long time, but Steven comes in, and he comes in with the bullshit. He presents this, thing is that, please tell me that this is, like, he just comes in and was just like, what the hell is this trash? And what happened is that the picture that girl took of Carly and Lori when they were at her little monologue, the damn thing done gone viral, and now it's in the press and it's on the internet. So, and it's a picture of Carly and Lori kissing. So we see that damn Steven is mad. And he is not mad not only because of his granddaughter affiliating with a Purifoy, because the Purifoy are the Carlisle's enemy, but then also because the fact that she's a lesbian. And at first Steven was like, so tell me, sweetheart, what happened? Did she just just kiss you and tried to force herself onto you, and they got this picture and they're running with this and all of that. And, you know, was this manufactured just to try to come for our family? Carly was like, no, you know, she didn't force me. Me and her were in love, you know, and I'm gay. And then all of a sudden, Steven started with the bullshit. It was like, oh, what the hell you talking about, you gay? Oh, hell nah. You know, is this what you doing now, Stephanie? You know, and he starts going in, talking about something like, yeah, and if you actually knew about putting God first, this, and like when he went there on God, Evan stood up and said that you will not come in my house and talk to my daughter or my wife like that. Because here it is, Carly just came out of the closet, which is one of the hardest things to do, is to come out the closet. I mean, it's like literally revealing yourself to the world, you know, with the fear that you could be rejected by this family that you have grown to love. And the fact that he went in like that, Evan wasn't having it. He's like, no, you need to leave. Because you're not going to come in here and disrespect my wife or my daughter. And we see that damn Steven, you know, frowned up his face and he ended up leaving. But I was like, wow, this shit is crazy. So we see that Evan actually embraced his daughter. So we see that, you know, she has her mother and her father support her, but her grandfather is dead set against her being a lesbian. So then after that, we get a scene with Herschel and Amara. Amara goes to see Herschel. Remember, Herschel is the one that works in, that works with, you know, the building divisions, you know, pretty much okaying, you know, pretty much he's the one that's been, you know, okaying all of these projects for English Rose. So pretty much they had a deal where he was gonna, you know, give some information, but then he tells Amara that he changed his mind, and she was like, I had a rough night, and yeah, you think you changed your mind, but you need to change it back, because I got proof you're taking bribes. And she presents a check of $10,000 that was given to him, but I think the check had bounced or something. And pretty much she says that you need to either give me what I want, or you will face prosecution and could lead into federal prison. And he was saying that, I can't believe this. I paid my taxes. I go to church every Sunday. I've never even gotten a speeding ticket. And for this one mistake, you mean to tell me that my life can be ruined? And she was saying that, look, you know, there's good people, but a lot of times we make bad judgment calls, especially your ass, Amara, because because she was very aggressive with Herschel, to the point that Herschel literally realized he was in a rock and a hard place, and there was nothing he could do to get himself out of it. So she pretty much says, give me a minute, I'm gonna make a call, but you need to think about what we're gonna do. She gets on the phone and talks to Karen, and the next thing you know, she hears a gunshot. Herschel done damn killed himself. And then we see that finally the FBI shows up and everything, and they kind of giving her, a rough time. But she says that you do realize I'm a federal prosecutor, right? So yeah, I do have some say-so here. But it was kind of like chauvinism. But then they get evidence, and they see there's a picture that was actually delivered to Herschel, a picture of him and his family with members of his family's heads cut out of the picture. So we can definitely see that he was threatened, and this could possibly lead to why he committed suicide, because he wasn't going to turn on the Purifoys. So then we get a scene with Bella and Ignacio. She's designed this suit for him and everything, and you can see that the flirtation between them is getting even stronger. He's trying to put his hands around her waist, and she's pulling back or whatever. And he tells her that, my mother loves your designs, and we're decided that we're gonna, skip past this procurement deal, and we're gonna create a long-term partnership. And And she's like, is this for real? And he's like, absolutely. But you can kind of tell that something ain't right with Ignacio, and something is not right with this whole situation. I mean, remember, Evan, recently had it, currently has issues with Bella, especially involving the custody of their son. And, he's pretty much saying that he's going to see his son one way or the other. So he's probably still mad that she was messing around with Roderick, and her setting her up with cortisone textiles could be his way of fucking up her life. So I'm thinking like, yeah, because we've seen that Evan is very slick and he's very simple when he doesn't get his way. So I'm already seeing something ain't right there. So while she goes to say that, oh, well, I don't have any champagne, but we can toast this with some tea. So she goes to get the tea. He gets a call, and he was like, all of a sudden we hear Ignacio talking like, this is going to be easier than I thought. Yeah, I think I got this. Just do what I tell you. And I'm like, oh, they about to do some shit to Bella, and I don't know what the hell it is, but we're literally seeing that Bella is literally getting set up in some fashion. And we just have to keep seeing. You have to keep watching to see how things are gonna go. Then we get a scene at the Purifoy Pharmaceuticals. They're having a board meeting. Arden is doing a presentation because he's a pharmacist, and he's discussing this anti-opioid to actually help with people who are addicted to opioids. And we see that Hunter, with his racist, self-righteous ass, is trying to do the lingos like, yeah, that's what's up. Good job, my man. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm just looking at Hunter like, seriously? Why is it that they think they have to try to speak our language for them to relate to us? We can relate to you with just you being yourself, but you trying to do, oh yeah, my brother, my man, my homie. I'm like, no, we hate that shit because it's not authentic. Be yourself. Because even for me personally, I don't have hatred for white people. I mean, I may hate some of the things they do or some of the actions they may throw at us, but I don't have hatred in my heart. So, and if anything, I don't judge you by the color of your skin. I judge you by the content of your character. But we clearly see that Hunter is one of those blatant racists and he's more of a liberal racist because he likes to rub his elbows with the blacks to serve his own agenda. And we clearly see this is what Hunter's doing. But Titus interjects and says that, nah, we can't really do this right now because we're still currently under investigation. This could really be messy if we do this right now. And then we see that while the meeting's going on, Lori gets a text from Carly saying that she wants to see her. And Hunter gets mad because Titus is rejecting his idea of pushing this drug out. He pretty much tells him, you need to do your damn job and make this lawsuit go away and all of that. But Lori actually agrees with Titus and says that, look, we really need to look at everything before we do this because, she's the head of public relations. So she's saying that Titus has a point. We really need to get this whole situation ironed out before we do this. So all of a sudden, we see that Hunter, because he's feeling himself saying that, so it seemed to me that Arden is the only one that's actually using his head right now. So we're gonna fast track this and we're gonna get it out there, and that's the final, and that's what's going down, and it is what it is. So he says he's gonna put the drug out anyway, despite of what they gotta say about it. And then all of a sudden they all leave, but then as soon as Titus leaves, Hunter calls Titus back, and he begins to clock him, saying that, oh yeah, I know about your little pro bono case, And he was like, yeah, and Hunter was like, look, I brought you on as my general counsel to help start the Carlisles, not to go crusade for your girls and boys in the hood. I'm like, oh, you racist son of a bitch. I was like, yo, you just the bold and the nerve to think you can just talk to black people like that. As I'm saying, like, this is the year where either you get with it or you will get checked. Because right after that, Titus checked the living shit out of Hunter. He was like, first of all, I am working all around the clock to protect you, to protect your business, and to protect your family. You will address me with the respect that I deserve. Oh yeah, and my so-called crusade with my girl from the hood, it could cost it could actually cost Stephen Carlisle millions. You welcome. And I was like, you gotta do that shit, Titus. Do that. Check that damn white privilege and shit. Cause Hunter's ass was just stuck after that. And I'm like, good. You know, cause, you know, you got some of them who are so entitled that they think they can just say anything to you. And like Titus checked his ass and let it know, like, no, bruh, you will respect me because I'm working my ass off to protect you and your family, and I'm, you know, your general counsel for a reason. And this pro bono case could actually stop Stephen Carlisle dead in his tracks. So I thought that was cool how he pulled that off. So then we see that Rondell at Thelma's. So we get a scene then with Rondell. She's at Thelma's place and she's talking about, you know, saving the banks and we got to get those signatures. And they start putting on the music, they jamming and all that. And then Greg comes in there with his bullshit. And like Rondell is feeling herself. And I'm going to say this about Rondell. Pride goeth before the fall. Because of her damn pride, the unthinkable happened. And I'm going to get to it. But in this moment, she real prideful, talking about some, oh, Greg, it's funny to see you here. Let's make you a plate. You know, you like, yeah. And I think you would probably love some humble pie. Because, because I am going to stop your investors, because Thelma Place is here to stay. And he was like, honey, I don't need investors to destroy what you hold dear. And she was like, there you go again, Peters, talking that cash shit. Shoot, as you see, our restaurant is still standing. We ain't going nowhere. And he was saying that, oh yeah? Well, how much shit you gonna be talking when I lay this place down along with your sorry life flat? I was like, oh, but then as soon as he said that shit, you heard the daggone rifle clock. That damn senior pretty much says that unless you're trying to leave out of here in a body bag, Greg, you need to make this the last time you threaten my daughter, and you need to go. And then they both pretty much start chanting, the banks are not for sale. The banks are not for sale. What? The banks are not for sale. So I was like, oh shit. That shit was crazy. So they pretty much ran Greg out the restaurant. So then we get a scene with Steven and Stephanie, after the fact with this whole situation with Carly and Lori. And of course Steven is very homophobic and very traditional with his ideals, and he's saying just the thought of it just makes me want to vomit. And Stephanie was like, you mean the Purefoys or Carly's sexuality? He said both. He's like, look, I love my granddaughter, but back in my day, men were with women and women were with men. And pretty much Stephanie checked his ass and she was like, look, gay people existed back in your day too, but a lot of them were hid themselves due to fear of persecution, death, bullying, and pretty much she kind of stood up for her daughter and said that, look, I will not let you make Carly feel ashamed because of her sexuality. At the end of the day, I will go against anybody in regards to that, even my own father. And he was like, Mother of the Year. I was like, Steven is ruthless. Like, I thought Greg was ruthless, but Steven is a totally different monster, and he does a lot this episode. I'm gonna get to it. So then he pretty much begins to read Stephanie. He was like, you know what? Since that gala, you've been off your game. Ever since that sorry ass Titus Houston came back into town, shoot, you've been a mess from the M to the S. I was like, wow. Then she was like, yeah, and he was like, yeah, you know, you can put on this tough girl persona for everybody else, but I'm your daddy. I see right through it, and I know how close you were to Titus and Amara, and how that portrayal really crushed you. But then she was like, oh no, Titus is the furthest thing from my mind. You lying slut. You done damn near brought Amara's ex-partner into the fucking city to fuck up their marriage, bitch. Lying ass. And then he pretty much says that, and then like Steven goes again, was like, yeah, you can say that shit for everybody else, but you and your inconvenient marriage to that, you know, nincompoop Evan Lancaster, and also your little liaisons with Greg Peters. And all of a sudden you see that damn Stephanie get shook. I'm like, yeah. He says that, yeah, baby, I know everything that goes on in this town, baby girl, and you broke the main rule of the game. Don't shit where you eat. So I'm here to let you know you're off the Greg Peters account. You need to be more focused on putting the Purifoys in the poorhouse. And yeah, you're no longer on Greg's case. So you can go. And he pretty much dismisses her. Then after that, we see Lori goes to talk to her father to talk about her relationship with Carly. And then all of a sudden she's thinking that her father's gonna reject it, and we can definitely see the hesitance in Lori. So it's evident that Lori is in love with Carly as well. They really, as I said, they're like the lesbian version of Romeo and Juliet. You know, more like Roma and Juliet. They're the Roma and Juliet of ambitions. And she goes to let her father know that she's kind of put herself in a bad situation. And he was like, yeah, honey, I know how you are with your dubious talents. But then sees the picture of her and you know, Carly kissing. And pretty much she says that, yeah, that's Stephen Carlisle's granddaughter. And he was like, girl, look at my daggone daughter now giving me the leg up. You know, they always talking about how racist and how, you know, how brutal we are, but yet here it is, their granddaughter, Stephen Carlisle's granddaughter, likes a little vanilla with her dessert. I was like, that damn Hunter is a mess. Oh my God. And he was like, and look at this. My own daughter done came in with the sneak attack. And Lori says, well, it doesn't matter. It's over anyway. He's like, oh, no. You need to pursue this. Run this play into the ground. So here it is. He don't care about his daughter, you know, being a lesbian or the fact that she's dating a black girl. But he's seeing that this is an opportunity to take down the Carlisles, because the Carlisles have always talked about how racist they are, which they are. But now he's saying that, oh, now your granddaughter likes my daughter. Yeah, we can use this as a way to bring them down. And we definitely see some resistance with Lori, because Lori truly is in love with Carly. So then we get a scene between Senior and Evan. They're playing chess, and he tells Evan that he's gonna ask he's gonna ask Lulene to marry him, and that can he be his best man. And pretty much he also lets him know that you know your kids. You know, you're a blessing to me, and I want you to understand this, Evan, that regardless of how busy you are as a mayor or whatever it is you do in life, your kids are the most important thing in life. And Evan says, oh yeah, I know, you know, Trey and Carly will never have to want for anything. And then Senior says, I mean all of your children. And I was like, I knew Senior knew that Joaquin was his son. Because you can tell the last time we saw them interact, how the way he was all, you know, interacting with Joaquin, he knew that Joaquin is his grandson. And he just let Evan know, like, I mean all your children. So he let Evan know, I know about you know, Joaquin, and that's your kid. And then afterwards they part ways, and he was like, you know, good game, Pop. Good game, yeah, because he just checkmate the shit out of you, Evan. He know your tea. And literally just told it to you. Like, yeah, bruh, I know about that other child that you don't claim publicly. So then we get a scene with Amara. She goes to see Greg Peters. And she mentions to him that, Herschel Cooper committed suicide, and he had received a photo with members of his family's heads cut out, and that he actually called you moments before he blew his brains out. And then, of course, Greg played it. It was like, oh, so you mean someone called me, from the wrong number, and that this person is unstable? Wow, it's unfortunate, but it doesn't have nothing to do with me. And then she tells him, you stay away from Rondell Lancaster, and what you've been doing, using your strong arm tactics to get the banks to sell their property, it stops now. And then she was like, so then Greg was like, so you mean to tell me this ain't all about the fact that your husband is now representing her in this Save the Banks campaign? And Amara says that you're used to getting people to bend to your will. I won't. And then he was like, well, if you don't have anything to arrest me or to take me in, I'm going to have to end this interlude right now. Then he dismisses her. Then we see Rondell and Senior. Rondell is out taking out the trash late at night, and Senior is saying, like, look, you trying to get yourself hurt, girl? What have I told you about taking out trash late at night by yourself? And she's like, come on, I ain't worried about nothing and everything. And then all of a sudden they hear somebody in the background. Senior had that rifle. He clocks it, and we come to find out it is actually the bodyguard that Stephanie hired to look over Rondell and Senior, due to the fact that English Rose project has gone south. She knows that Greg and Greg's family want blood, and they're willing to kill them in order to get their property. And he reveals that he was sent there by Stephanie Lancaster to protect them. So of course they like, what the hell is this shit? And definitely I'm gonna get to what happens later with that, but yeah, that went down. So now they find out about the bodyguard that Stephanie hired to protect them, but he was supposed to remain anonymous. They weren't supposed to know he was there, but since they up on edge and he made a sound, hey, they ready. But yeah, it's a lot that's gonna come with that, so I'm gonna keep it moving. So then we get a scene with Amara and Titus. You can tell she goes to Titus' office at Purifoy Pharmaceuticals. You can cut the tension with a knife between them. And she's like, you're not answering my calls or my texts. And he was like, yeah, that should tell you something. Because unless it's about our daughter Deja, we ain't got nothing to talk about. Now, either you leave or I'll leave. And then she tells him about Herschel, and, he's like, oh my God, I'm really sorry to hear that. And she really shows how emotional she is, that here it is, I literally put a lot of pressure on this guy, and here it is, he was trying to protect his family, and because I pushed so hard, he didn't see another way out, and he just literally shot himself just a second after I was talking to him. And he pretty much lets her know, I wish I could be there for you, but I can't. And pretty much she before she walks out, she lets him know that, look, anything you'll throw at me, I'll take it, but I'm not giving up on us. So he was like, hey, that's your thing, I could care less. But then she asks him, where are you staying in case of an emergency, if something happens with Deja? And he lets her know that he's staying at the Duckworth, and he gives her the room number. And then once she leaves, she starts sobbing. So I'm like, yeah, girl, you done fucked up big time in this situation. So then we get the ultimate showdown, because Greg Peters has gotten into it with Rondell and Senior and Amara. But this showdown was the showdown of them all, because he goes into his office, and guess who's sitting up at his desk and is just as comfortable as he wants to be? that damn Steven Lancaster, he's pretty much there, like, and then, as soon as he walk in and he sees Steven sitting in his desk, Greg's like, what the hell you doing here? Because the Carlisle that I choose to work with actually looks sexy in a pantsuit. And pretty much, Steven lets him know, I'm retaking control over your account, and he was like, nah, that ain't going down. Me and your daughter work good together. And he was like, yeah, so good that you two dumbasses done taint the whole English Rose deal. And due to your incompetence and your out of control libido is the reason why this whole thing has fallen apart. And then all of a sudden, you see like Greg kind of like boss up, like, who the hell you think you talking to? And Steven was like a spoiled ass little boy who thinks of nothing but himself. And he says, you already know that the Petrovich needs this deal to go through. And he was saying that and he says, that they need this development. And he was like, yeah, I'm aware of that. And all of a sudden, that damn Steven looked at Greg and said, sit your pink ass down. I cracked up. I was like, yo, he is literally talking to Greg like he's a little boy. And he's literally checking him. And he was saying that, and he's saying, as far as you're concerned, I just got off of a plane from Serbia talking to my father, and I let him know that this situation is okay. And he's like, that's funny because I just talked to your dad this morning, and it seems to me you ain't telling him the full story. And pretty much you're about this close for him forgetting that he sired you with a back alley whore. I was like, oh shit! Yo! Oh my god, Greg goes the fuck off, like, what the, like, and then he goes off and kind of like, bosses up at Steven, like, who the hell do you think you're talking to, and blah, blah, blah. And Steven was like, oh yeah, your cousin Latasha? She's not here on no social call. She's here to clean up the mess, which includes you. He says that, look, your family, like your father got money sitting at the warehouse full of money, and it's making him uneasy, and we need a development to funnel that money through. And you already know how your father works. He will kill to get it. So this is what's gonna happen. Everything in regards to English Rose goes through me. You will take your orders from me. And you will not make a move, wait for it, unless it's through me. So, and he says that, look, you play this game the way I say you need to play it, you might survive this. And he was like, and then of course Greg with his entitlement was like, my father will never side with you over me. He was like, ha 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 ha. That damn Steven got all up in his shit and was like, your father ordered your ass killed yesterday. It's because I made the call to call it off is the reason why your sorry ass is standing here in front of me. And he's like, oh, so you think you can control me? Steven gets up in Greg's face and was like, I will put you down if I can't. Now, at first, your father told me that you were off limits to me. I'm here to let you know that those restrictions have been lifted. And I'm going to let you know. Sleep with my daughter again. You can forget your cousin, but it will be me that will pull a bullet in your head. And I never miss. I was like, oh shit. And then we see Greg fuming like shit. I was like, that's the one that burnt him. That this successful, brutal black man literally came into his office and talked down to him like a little ass boy. And on top of it, he got more lenient and more of a connection to his father than he does. Because he kind of let it be known, shit, your mother was a back alley whore. He only's keeping you around because you his CB. He don't give a fuck about you. Because at the end of the day, he cares more about his fortune and about that money than he does about your sorry ass. And even though you're his son, he will kill you in order to save that money and to save his business. So that shit was crazy. So then we get a scene with Evan and Carly. Before Carly comes in, he gets a text from Daphne saying that she wants to meet up with him. You know, Daphne and the whole little dominatrix thing. Carly tells Evan that she's moving. You know, Kenny Lee. I went to go apply with Kenny Leon for the exchange program for next year, but he said that there's a person who canceled at the last minute, so there's an open slot. So he said if I want to join this year, I can. So I'm gonna take it, and we can see that Evan doesn't want her to go. And we see that Stephanie overhears this conversation. And then we see that her messy ass at the same time is texting Titus that she wants to meet up to discuss the conference in regards to the Purifoy case. And we see that he doesn't want her to go, and Evan is like literally pleading like, I know you're 21, but you're still my baby girl, and I'm just not ready. I don't want you to leave so soon. And he pretty much says, Dad, I love you, and I really appreciate you, but I want to get away from her, talking about her mother. And then she also throws in about her tricking Lori and hiring escorts to sleep with people and shit. But then, you know, Stephanie says that, you know, well, the thing about it, maybe you going wouldn't be such a bad idea. But then again, I'm thinking maybe you should stay so we can work out our differences. You know, I wish you all the best in being an actress. You know, it will make you even a better attorney if you choose to choose that path. I'm like, Stephanie, you controlling bitch. She doesn't want to be a lawyer, and yet you're still trying to force this on her, and then keep trying to bring up law every single time. And then she was like, you know, but then she lets her know that, you know, I agree, you know, follow your passions, except to another Purifoy. And she makes it been like, you got my blessing. I'm like, Stephanie's fucking ridiculous, y'all. She really is. Then we get this crazy scene with Bella and Ignacio. She puts Joaquin to bed, and, you know, pretty much Ignacio shows up unannounced with a bottle of champagne. You know, he pretty much says, welcome to Quarterzone Textiles. You know, we make a great team. They share a toast, and he was saying that, you know, I really, you know, love you as a talent, and I respect your boundaries. So here it is. He's about to leave, and all of a sudden she's like, Ignacio, you're gonna let me finish this bottle all by myself? And I was like, Her little kitty cat is purring, and she's ready for somebody to come scratch it. And I was like, She want to jump his bones. So here it is. You know, they next thing you know, they toast again, and he talks about how sexy she is and all of that. And then the next thing you know, everything went out the window, and she was like, professionalism is so overrated. And they end up having some wild kinky sex, and while that's happening, somebody breaks into her house and literally snatches Joaquin right from under her, while she is literally getting her back blown out by Ignacio, and she's waving her head back and forth while she's riding him like a motorbike. Little Joaquin literally gets taken right from under her nose. And for me, I think Roderick may have had something to do with it. But it looks like this is definitely something that Evan would do, since Evan has been trying to get, you know, access to him, and Bella has been getting in the way of that. So I think he went to extreme measures to get his way. So it could possibly be Evan, But me personally, I think it's Roderick. Get down in those comments and let me know your thoughts on that. So then we get the scene where, after that, Evan goes to see Daphne, and he was saying that, yeah, we gonna change the role reversal. I'm gonna be the dominant, you gonna be the submissive. And the next thing you know, he looks over and literally sees that she's chained up and she's not moving, nor is she responding. And then he goes to check her and see that she's dead. So he kind of like tries to wipe himself off and everything, and he calls someone and says that, look, I got a situation, get your ass over here. So then afterwards, we get a scene where Stephanie and Titus meet up for drinks, you know, and she is immediately playing her hand with her succubus trifling ass, and she starts going in, talking about some, you know, I would talk about the case, but maybe we need to get a drink, because you got a long face, you know, instead of me, you know, being an attorney, just think of me as your friend Stephanie, or Steph. I was like, oh, this messy bitch. And he was like, you know, I got a lot on my mind. And she was like, oh, problems at home? You know, you can tell me. It's okay. And he was like, now you know you the last person I can talk to about that. And she was like, your secrets are safe with me. Haven't they always been? I was like, oh, damn, bitch, what happened with Tyler's past that you know about? And then she was like, you know, maybe we should go somewhere private and talk. And I was like, ooh, shit. And the next thing you know, we see Amara, because we knew Amara was going to bring her ass up over to Titus, because she wants Titus back, and she's let it be known she ain't giving up without a fight. So here it is. She goes to his room only to see that, you know, she knocks on the door, and guess who answers it? Stephanie, wearing Titus' shirt. And she's like, Stephanie, what the hell are you doing here? You know, paying a debt that has long been overdue. And we see that Titus is shirtless, so they done got it in. And I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to see what's going to happen with that. So that was the end of them. Then we see that, you know, we get a scene with Rondell and Senior. Rondell looks sharp because he's about to propose to Lulene. And he asks Rondell, are you okay with this? And he's saying that, and she lets him know that, you know, Daddy, it's always been just you and me all these years. But you deserve happiness. And if you being with Lulene is going to make you happy, then I'm happy. But he says it, but the thing about it, we good until she start fucking with you. Because she start matching with you, I'm snatching the church hat and I'm snatching her wig. I was like, Rondell's a mess. And then we see that Senior reveals something in this scene where he says, I wish you didn't turn away the bodyguard that Stephanie sent, you know, because obviously something's really bad for her to actually hire a bodyguard to watch us. And she was like, oh, child, please, I ain't worried about Greg Peters with his shiftless paper ass. He ain't gonna do nothing. And I'm like, see, pride goeth before the fall. Because I will say that, honestly, Rondell is going to regret this shit, because moments after that, we see that Senior goes outside. Well, before that, he pretty much tells her goodbye, and he says, bye, baby bug. And she was like, Daddy, you ain't called me that ever since I was little. And he's like, you're going to always be my baby bug. So he goes outside, he places a call to Lulene, he's 5 minutes away, and he can't wait to see her. And then all of a sudden you hear somebody from the distance come in and say, Senior. And then you hear gunshots. And then you hear Rondell screaming, Daddy! Daddy! And then next you know, we see that, yeah, he got shot down. And whoever that shot him, Senior knew who the hell he was, because Senior looked up and was like, kiss my ass. And then they did the fatal shot. And we see that, you know, that, yes, Senior was the one that was murdered this season. And I was like, damn, I was not ready for this. But they kind of showed, you know, throughout the episode, where Senior was just having a lot of these sentimental moments with Evan and with Rondell, and then was about to propose, and he was only 5 minutes away from doing that and got shot way before he can even get there. And I was like, man, this is fucked up. And yes, this is going to create a more vicious monster out of Evan. And it's definitely going to change Rondell forever. So I can't wait for this show to come back. But yes, this shit was everything. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the mid-season premiere of Ambition. So until next time, everybody, take care.